Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. Nintendo 2DS. This is my own personal one that I picked up a while back for my collection, and I got it at a very cheap price for one very simple reason. If we open her up and have a look, always nice to get something in its original box. When the box will come out. With all manuals, cards, everything. However, the one issue this faces at this moment in time is not obvious. But if I try and power it on, see it powers on, and immediately you can see that that screen is not looking very nice at all. You will also find that if I power this off, the side casing is very definitely popped. And is bulged. And this was bought as an item that had been dropped. It looks like the impact has been there, and it's completely shattered the screen. So what do you do with something like this if you drop it and shatter your screen? Well, the simple answer is go and have a look for a replacement screen, which is exactly what I did, and why I have a brand new replacement screen here. Don't worry about the marks and the bubbling, that's the protective film over it. So 2 connector cables on the back, that should be, I believe, one for each screen, and this is possibly the backlight control. So this cost me a whole £16.18 approximately, delivered, with screen protectors so they can be fitted to protect the screens. So, having never worked on one of these before, a lot of this is first time, let us see what we can do with this. So to start with, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll remove the stylus. 6 screws. They are all Phillips screws. Smaller Phillips screws. So I'm just simply going to start by removing these. The 2DS was launched in 2013, specifically aimed towards the younger market. under 7s, because Nintendo had launched the 3DS, however had said that the 3DS was probably not great for younger eyes that were still developing. So they released this. Some people like the form factor, others don't. You can decide. But it uses basically the same hardware as the 3DS and very similar functionality, even though these last two screws do not want to come out. In fact, is this an inset panel? It is. So those that were screaming at me can now stop screaming. I've worked out where the inset panel is. And a battery. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws for the next part of the casing. This time, do we expect the casing to come apart? So two side panels, and this is the one that popped out. It's broken the clip points. That one will glue. In fact, that one's probably strong enough without gluing. That one is definitely broken and buckled. That's for reassembly. What I did spot is a power cable. So if I move it to the side, you can hopefully see that cable there. And it does look like it is a lift. Except it doesn't want to lift using that. Okay, give me a second, I'm just going to examine a little bit closer. So that's now done, and this should just carefully lift out, which will allow me to put this assembly to the side along with the power switch cover. see this. It's not going to focus in. Just lying loose. It's popped out of something. The buttons just lift and come out. They also go to the side. This back panel looks like it stays in place. The screws that hold it in don't look like they affect this in any way. So we have a number of other things that I can see here. This looks like the cables for the screen. And we have another couple here, 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 and look at this, it comes across, disappears under here, could be this module. These are indeed lift up flaps, they're just very delicate. I can see too much pressure on these and they would quite easily break. That one. Two monitor cables, monitor to video cables. That one's just a pull, and it's free. We've got this one that goes over and this one that goes through as well by the looks of it. Yes, there are a few of these cables that need disconnected. I'm just paying very careful attention to how they go in. Because obviously I don't want to break any. And it's fun trying to work out exactly how they sit in place. Again, I'm going to look at these under magnification. It does appear these ones lift up from the back. Like so. Same for this one. So checking this one still just comes down to here. It does go into this top module. And it looks like this top module lifts off. Just like that. Interestingly, it's held into the board there as well, just on a small metal clip. Hopefully we won't need to remove that, but we'll see when we come to lift the entire thing out. So the interesting thing is I've worked out where that broken metal clip came from. We are missing one shoulder button here because it's right here. See if I can get that in focus. It's broken off, so one shoulder button will also need some work done. This one looks intact. I'm just going to look at this under some magnification. Under magnification, we can clearly see there's a crack across this board. This trace is broken. This pad's missing completely down to the trace here. This trace may be damaged, as maybe this one. This one looks fine. So I need to order up replacement shoulder button, get that fitted and run some trace wires just to get everything running. But let's check the other side. So the other shoulder button has taken a little bit of damage. You can see the buckle in the plate, but the tracks and the traces look fine. More importantly, this all operates as it should be, so hopefully it's just the one shoulder button and this one can be left. So let's continue the disassembly now that we have seen exactly what needs done. Hopefully that's all the screws out. Let's see what happens. I'm just going to check underneath the board and see if anything else is connected. And it isn't. So now I can lift the circuit board out of the way. I'll just pop this to the side temporarily. And there's the damaged screen. So a few things still to do. I need to remove this so it will clear safely out of the way of the LCD. That's the top hat, so which does not want to remove. However, it will rotate, so that will do just as well. Ah. Did not want to come out from the outside, but did from the inside. So that's fine. Obviously, if you have a problem with any of the buttons, you're now in a position to be able to clean and check them all, remove any dirt, any imperfections, and get them all running. However, I'm interested in this. Not a lot left of this, but I don't want to damage the digitizer, the touch screen. I believe it has touch screen. I'll not actually run this to confirm. And there we have it. You can clearly see, hopefully you can clearly see, the spider's web of cracks radiating out. Quite nicely there. So that is completely scrap, and just at the right angle to show them going down onto the lower screen as well. So this is dead. This is beyond repair. This is the home button and the digitizer here. So I'm going to put this one to the side. And lift out the replacement. Now, the black surround on this one is actually tacky, so it looks like it'll need to be removed and transferred over, which is a pain, seeing as it means removing the screen protectors and allowing the dust to get under. So let's move all this out of the way first and have a look at this, see if we can get this to lift off. So there's the damaged one away. This is the brand new replacement. This is where you try and remove this without having this touch anything. I may well find that this is not needed. Took a bit longer than I expected, however, that's it roughly centralised. Not pretty, but centralised. So let's refit it. I'm not pressing anywhere other than the edges, and I'm not pressing hard. You don't want to put too much pressure on because you could crack the LCD screens and you're back to square one. So everything lined up roughly where it should be. And I will need to do partial assembly to be able to test this. So I'll see you in a minute. wow, that is not fun. There are so many little cables, and if they're not in the right order or the right sequence, and you don't make sure everything's clipped down, like making sure this USB port comes through and that the card reader sits in place, it just will not go back together properly. So I actually had to take out what I'd put together and start again at one point. Now let's find out if we have a display. We've got enough to get it powered. I've not got all the screws in, I've not got the side panels and the buttons, but let's see what happens. And that's never a good sign. That's probably something put together incorrectly. However, battery power running low, and one of the buttons is running all the time. So that's an assembly issue. But I have a display, and I have audio, and I've got touchscreen. So for part one, that's a big win-win. Next will be fixing the shoulder button and taking it from there, although it is sounding like the speaker is dodgy, and it's definitely needing charged. I'm going to guess that's why it's all just turned off. So let's power it down. Please remember to subscribe if you like the videos, and see you in the next one.